Throughout our lives, we take getting things to be beneficial, to be good, to be valuable. When I gain something, when I get something, that is good. That is good for me. Fundamentally, this equation is a bit flawed. Because unseen to our minds, there is a fire when we hold the belief that we should obtain something. The nature of the world is there is no guarantee that we will get that particular thing which we want to get. We believe that thing we want to get is so valuable that we get stressed out. We get this kind of fear if we get anything different to what we hope to get. Hope in itself has caused this kind of clash in nature within us. There are multiple levels of wanting things. One such classification would be Kamaloka, Rupaloka, Arupaloka. The most dense one we can tap into is the Kamaloka one. An easy frequency to see is the sexual frequency. The wanting towards that at certain time periods can be very palpable. Another example is in this modern day and age, when scrolling through Facebook, social media, YouTube, there is this system of like TikToks or Reels, short bursts of what we call dopamine, which is released when we see these things. And even though we know it's not really going to serve us, if you think a 30-second or 10-second video is going to give you a good amount of knowledge which is valuable and life-changing, you're probably delusional. Learning over one subject over a long period of time can really, give you valuable information, but a 10-second video, it's extremely unlikely. The time you could be spent doing more valuable things, you are wasting on a quick dopamine hit, hungry for the next one. These reels are designed in such a way that we keep on scrolling. There's a nice word for it, doom scrolling. It has become quite the problem. Now, continuously entertaining this frequency is not going to serve you in any way. Another example is eating while watching something. We tend to want a quick rush of dopamine. We tend to squeeze out every bit of dopamine we can. It still runs on the programming where you believe you're gaining something, when this is inherently not true. As your mind moves from the taste of the food to the content you are watching, there's kind of this trance state. You are in a bit of a trance within the pleasure which you are feeling. But this kind of pleasure or this kind of plus is a kind of very low plus. If pleasure has a spectrum, this is on the bit of the low end of the spectrum. Because you tend to lose awareness of your food. Mindful eating is out of the window, and you tend to get lost in this. Even this is the problem with doom scrolling, and this is the problem with also a sexual frequency. Pornography and all these matters have made use of this low frequency of the mind. And if you are someone who is familiar with bringing in awareness to their minds, you would notice how dense this is, how uncomfortable this is, how with the promise of happiness. I mean, the mind does sell it as a promise of something good, something which will make you happy. It's almost unconsciously so. But if you take it and examine it, it is easy to see the danger of it. It is easy to see the problem of it. It is easy to see the negative side of it. But the mind tends to believe that it's positive. And that's why you see yourself getting into these kinds of behaviors constantly. So what is the cure for such a thing? Well, various spiritual practices have used various methods. One such method is restraint. You can tell, no, I am not going to entertain this. You can delete your social media. You can restrain your sexual urges. You can restrain yourself. And you can discipline, saying, no, I'm going to eat mindfully from now. And initially, this is very important. Because just like a train which leaves the station, it is easy to get in then, once it is in the station. But once it starts to develop velocity, then it's very difficult to stop this train, to get out of this train. But when it's stationary in the station and it's just starting to move, you can still get out. Now, when the train has accelerated and it's going pretty fast, you will find yourself difficult to stop this process. Because now the mind is moving way too quickly. You'll need a lot more restraint, a lot more discipline, a lot more effort in general to stop now. But you'll find that in the first few times, it is precisely when this train is moving at a velocity, you start to notice the problem. You start to notice, oh my gosh, it is pretty dense. Oh my gosh, it is pretty uncomfortable here. Otherwise, most individuals are lost within this process. So restraint is definitely one technique. And the other technique is meditation. Before I go into meditation, I would say meditation is the third technique. I would say the second technique is intention. Setting intention. When you do something of maybe good, maybe help to another individuals, to other beings, an intention you can set is, may the merit I've accumulated from this giving. May the time I've given to do this good deed, may the energy I put forth to do this wholesome deed, may that be the hetu, or may that be the cause for my insight to get out of this low frequency, to get out of these habits which do not serve me. May the good that I have done from the hetu, from that cause, may the effect be insight, so I can let go of this. Now, this setting intention can be done throughout the day. The third one, let's move on to, is meditation. Now, with meditation, let's use this word awareness. Awareness is extremely crucial, extremely important. First off, you must be aware. You must be aware that you are in a low frequency. Learn to notice your mind. Learn to notice your mind when it is dense, when it is vibrating at a kind of a low, dense, uncomfortable frequency. Most times we tend to turn a blind eye. We tend to go with it and only afterwards see, that was a bit problematic. I didn't really like that. How did this start? The train has already left the station, accelerated, caused the problem, and now only you are starting to notice. It's like you are in a dream. You are unable to see through. But the more you train your mind, the more you bring awareness, this process will develop. Just like playing an instrument, you can't get it in the first try. But for sure, you're making the causes for the effect. As you keep on playing this guitar of awareness, you'll get used to how to keep your fingers on the chords. You'll get used to seeing the patterns of your mind as it goes. You'll get used to catching the denser frequencies. And that awareness in itself, I would say, would solve 80% of the problem. 80% of the problem will be solved by awareness. And this kind of awareness is not, I would say, completely unique to the Buddha's teaching. It's there in other spiritual practices too. Other venerables, other yogis, other spiritual masters have also looked into the mind and applied awareness. You can actually apply brakes 80% if you really develop this awareness. It's not rocket science. But where there is a bit of science, a bit of theory comes in, is in the Buddha's teachings and applying them. Vipassana, vidarshana, you can contemplate on the nature after the awareness, after you are aware of this problem. Maybe it is as the train is beginning to move, maybe while it is moving, or maybe while the entire journey has finished and now you are looking back in retrospect. You can go into it and see what were you attached to, what did you take as valuable. Because remember, we only attach to things we take as valuable. So within all these dense scenarios, what really were we attached to? What really did our minds take as valuable? Avidya, the common English translation is ignorance. And it's not a bad translation, not too bad. Of course, it doesn't capture the full lessons. But really, what were you ignorant to? What was your mind ignorant to? What did it take as valuable? What did it not see? are questions to ask yourself. The other method also falls under meditation is to kind of build a taste for letting go. We've been programmed since a very young age from our parents, from school, from society in general, to say that gaining something is the best. While once you get to these higher spiritual frequencies, you'll notice that letting go, the pleasure, the joy of letting go is far superior than the joy of gaining. Once you build a taste for the joy of letting go, within every moment, you can come into awareness and also remind your mind, hey, even though you think that I should be looking at this screen, that in itself is my ignorance, my avidya, my mind following its sansaric programming based on delusion, based on a lie. Remind yourself gently. Don't hate on yourself. It's easy in this process to get lost in the result, You want to completely stop it, and you feel actively even mad at yourself sometimes. That maybe you follow certain patterns, that maybe you still go into the old habits. And you hate on it, and you want it to be different. This in itself is a subtle attachment. You are attached so much to the result that in itself is causing density. That in itself is causing suffering. Be gentle. Be firm but gentle. Do not waver. Be straight as a tree. Hold your ground. But allow it space. The tree provides shade for all the animals below it. In the same way, be firm and provides shade, provide space for the emotions that come. Accept them, allow them to come. Don't try to push them away. Allow them to come. Give them that space and see through. Have that intention of seeing through. But don't have that intention of chasing them away as soon as possible. That in itself is another attachment. That in itself is trying to gain something for yourself. Take it easy. Accept. And know that this will not serve you. Know that the tricks your mind sells you will not serve you. Know that the joy of letting them go is far more deeper than always gaining. To end this session, I will chant this Buddhist chant from the Buddha about the joy of letting go. So find a comfortable position where you will be sitting down for maybe 5 minutes or so. And put your phones on maybe silent. And take a deep breath in and out. Empty your lungs as much as you can. And fill up your lungs. Take a deep breath in. And out. One more time. Etang santang etang pranitang yadidan sabba sankhara samato sabbupadi patinissaggo virago nirodho nibbananti. Etang santang etang pranitang this is peaceful. This is good. Yadidan sabba sankhara samato. The letting go of all doing to obtain empty pleasure. Sabbupadi patinissaggo. Letting go of the chains which hold us to samsara. Virago. Breaking away from want. Nirodho. Uprooting oneself from, breaking the circle, the cycle. Nibbananti. The peace of Nibbana. Etang santang etang pranitang yadidang sabba sankhara samato sabbupadi patinissaggo virago nirodho nibbananti. Sielu loka, sielu sattvayo dukken midettva nivan dakittva nivan dakittva nivan dakittva. Loke anathai nivanam anathai. Loke anathai nivanam anathai. Loke anathai nivanam anathai. Sadhu, sadhu.